We're doing this for you people.
We went to go see The Wizard of Oz.
I liked it.
Had you never seen it before?
Well, no, because I saw it when I was, like, really little. But
Yeah.
I only remember the, like, often parodied scenes to the point where you barely remember the original, you know?
That was actually happened to me a few times during this, where I was like, oh, that's where that line originally comes from. I mean, not the obvious ones, but, like, some of the throwaway lines and stuff like that.
Not nobody, not know how.
Probably. No, I didn't remember that one, but the thing like Tin Man said about like no one calls me a beehive or something like that. I've seen that.
Beehive. Pah!
That I was like, oh yeah, okay, all right. That's where the the famous beehive line comes from. I haven't seen this movie since like from beginning to end since I was a kid, but it's one of those movies that like, I mean, I saw it enough when I was a kid, like a lot of people did. So it's a movie that I can pretty much just, even before seeing it again tonight, I can picture in my head from beginning to end how this movie goes.
You see, I had bits of it where... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, same here. I probably haven't seen it beginning to end in 10 years or more, but saw it so many times, like in grade school and on TV and shit when I was a kid, that, yeah, it's one of those movies you just know.
Yeah, because at the beginning it was introed by Robert Osborne, the Turner Classic Movie dude, and he does this intro at the beginning of it when he's talking about like it's so rare seeing Wizard of Oz on the big screen with an audience. Like, well, he's never been to Springfield. This movie shows in Springfield every year. Like, this movie showed last year, the year before that.
Yes, but was it the correct aspect ratio?
Oh, that would have been
like 5 times.
That would have been hilarious if it was stretched to fit the screen. Oh, I don't remember everyone being so fat. Why isn't this in 3D?
Yeah, Judy Garland was a little chubby, wasn't she?
She was farm girl stout.
Just a little chub
David.
monster.
What?
Just a little chub monster.
I actually enjoyed seeing this again.
I did too. Because, like, I was starting to say when you guys were talking about seeing it so many times when you were little, that there were bits of it that, like, gave me a really strong sense of deja vu. But, like, there were huge chunks of it that I'd completely forgotten about. Like, that god-awful Courage song that the lion sings.
Where they just break a flower vase and
That
put
was
on his
hilarious.
head. Oh my god. I hope no one needs this. Good Here you go.
I'm glad that broke exactly the way that it did.
And then it fell off of his head, much like it was plastic.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding,
Ding, ding, ding, ding, ding. And I think that, like, I saw this movie quite a bit when I was younger, but it was rarely because I'm like, I feel like watching The Wizard of Oz. It was just something that everyone was always watching if I was at, like, a daycare center or school or something like that. And I think that largely some of my enjoyment coming from seeing it again, probably the first time in my adult life that I've seen it all the way through, is that I was sitting next to Dave during all of this.
Yeah, Dave don't much care for this movie.
And it was hilarious, because here is what is arguably the most wholesome movie ever made playing on screen. Meanwhile, there's Dave sitting next to me just the whole time, just... Ugh. And like when the house falls when the house is falling at the beginning of the movie and lands, poop, Dave's just sitting there like, ugh, real fucking sturdy house.
Oh my god, you caught him, Dave. The whole movie fell apart from there.
It was so funny because from my peripheral vision I could see just like... It was so funny.
Just come out and...
It looked like you are killing time waiting for your kids at another movie. Or you're pissed off that you were planning on going to see this and getting really fucked up on drugs, and then you showed up at the theater and realized you forgot the drugs, but your ride already took off. Well, shit. I guess I'm gonna see this movie anyway.
Point of order, I have seen this movie fucked up on
Oh,
drugs.
me too. Probably the last time I saw it.
You know, like... You guys enjoyed seeing it. I have to say, I have to be honest, I found it much more enjoyable seeing it on a big screen. There was a lot more detail that I can't remember seeing before. And it's one of those movies that, like, it's an important movie. There's nothing really wrong with this movie. Considering it was made in 1939, it's It's majestic and beautiful, and technically for the time, just outstanding. I don't give a shit. I don't like it.
I know that. When the movie was over, first of all, we were like the youngest ones in that theater by like 50 years.
Oh, there were some children's behind me.
Was there?
Yeah,
were they, or were they Munchkins?
There are Munchkins. There were some rude-ass Munchkins.
Yeah.
Well, if you've heard any backstory of the movie,
Yeah.
they're drunk as shit.
Are they really?
Oh, yeah.
Those stories are fucking legendary. There was this awful movie they made about this. It was called Under the Rainbow with Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher, where it was like, remember that poster I sent you? I was like, oh my god, I want this on my wall, where it was like...
You sent me a lot of posters.
It was the one when you're like, wow, they just said midget right on the poster, didn't they?
Okay,
It was for that. It's like there's like spies and shit, and they're in the hotel where the Munchkins are staying, and they're all like drunk and belligerent. It's a horrible movie, but kind of amazing. And so when the movie ends and everyone's walking out, and we're like right out of the door, like in the auditorium, and Dave's just like, oh, I still don't give a shit. So old lady's walking by us.
Well, considering the other stuff you guys were saying, I think the old
Me?
ladies
What
knew
did I
it.
say?
Right? No, that was all me. I'll be honest. I was the one sitting there pulling and nerving.
I heard because I found it a beautiful term of phrase while simultaneously repellent.
Well, Dave cracked me up the most. He was like, the lovely heroin fields of Oz. When it was
They're expensive.
the poppies. Well, I was sitting there like, I think the biggest thing that I said, I was kind of laughing at probably inappropriate parts when they're just throwing spears at the dog, because it was just like, it was just like, all right, the dog's gonna start running, just throw a bunch of spears at it, all right, boys, and action, all right. And
What
like,
about the only scene in the movie where that dog wasn't doped to the gills?
yeah.
There's a couple where she's just got it under its arm and it's just like hanging there.
A few of the scenes they're just like, well, just set the dog at a place where it can't get away and roll camera.
Well, the biggest thing I said was probably at the end when the end credits showed, and I was like, ha ha ha, singer midgets. That was what I forgot about the movie, is that they're credited as the singer midgets.
Last build
After the dog.
after the dog. Poor old singer midget.
Man, this movie's kind of fucked up.
Well, see, I think that's part of the reason I enjoyed it so much. 'Cause
Me too.
I was thinking about it in the theater, and like the last time I saw it, I remember it being cheesy. But I feel like at this point, it's transitioned over into charmingly creepy.
Yeah.
Because it's aged enough. So like the parts in the Emerald City, like the set design, it was almost kind of indicative of like Rapture from BioShock, which I found entertaining, and just like little things like. I pointed this out thinking that perhaps they had noticed it already, that the Scarecrow, when they're going to hunt the witch, has a gun.
Oh, I heard you mention that, like, in the theater, or one of you two just go like, he's got a gun.
He had a gun!
I completely, in all the times I've seen that movie, forgot that he had a gun.
They got, like,
I
a
remember
huge
the giant net.
comical net, the huge thing of bug spray, and the Scarecrow just with like a pistol, just like waving it.
And it never comes into play.
Neither does the bug spray. Then I don't know where they got this. Is there a gun shop in Oz? They respect their goddamn Second Amendment in the Emerald City. He just went and just bought this fucking gun. Never fucking uses it. I guess the plan was you capture the witch in the net, you just bug spray her ass, and then you just shoot her in the back of the head. It turns out all you had to do is throw water on her.
Which happens out of fucking nowhere.
It was a water gun.
God damn
that would have been amazing.
Super soaker.
I had forgotten how totally anticlimactic it is when she dies.
Yeah.
I was laughing my ass off. It was kind of adorable. He's like,
No,
what a world! Oh, you crappy girl! How dare you!
That
Okay,
witch.
goodbye, everyone.
That witch is amazing.
She's my favorite character.
Owns every scene that she's in, to the point to where I was actually, even though I knew how she died in the movie, who doesn't? But man, for one, that means she's not in the movie anymore, and also, what an anticlimactic death for easily the best part of this movie. And her, what are the names of her people?
The Winkies.
The Winkies. The Winkies had to have been like, really? All we had to do was sprinkle water on her? What the fuck? It's that fucking easy? Same with there's water all over Munchkin Land. They could have just splashed some water. That Munchkin Land scene. Oh my fucking god. Like, when...
I think that's another part of the reason I like it so much, because that scene, like, so upfront, just... delightful from beginning to end.
Yes, see, we dropped a house on this fucking woman. We're gonna sing about it. And like, I think the part that tickled me the most in this is one, when the autopsy Munchkin shows up. It's like, well, I've observed the body and I can decree that she's dead. A house landed on her.
I want to interrupt you real quick, because my favorite part of that part was that they cut over to Glinda.
That was my favorite part too.
The creepiest character in this movie.
Yes.
Just smiling beatifically at them deeming this witch dead.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That is exactly what I was gonna say. Like, when Dorothy says to the evil witch, like, to the wicked witch of the West, like, oh, I'm sorry, it was an accident. And she's like, genuinely like, oh, I'm sorry. Meanwhile, Glinda's right next to her, going like,
But what about the shoes? Oh, fuck you. They're on the girl now. Go away.
You're totally right. She is hands down the most unintentionally creepiest part of this movie.
Well, plus, if you think about it, she kind of orchestrated the whole shit from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Because she had the house dropped on her, she put the shoes on her, which she knew at that point would send her home immediately. Wouldn't believe her my eyes, she's in Munchkin Land.
Yeah.
And then sends her to the wizard sends her to the Wicked Witch, kills her, power vacuum, sends her back to the wizard goes home, power vacuum, then Glinda sends her home. The only one in charge now is the fucking Scarecrow. Glinda is ruling that shit.
It was a power play.
It was a complete power play.
Oh, Scarecrow, I'll miss you most of all. Oh, bitch.
I think she couldn't think of anything else to say to him, because she said that and then just walked away.
Once you've seen your friend's guts spilled out on the floor everywhere, what else can you say?
Well, he's practically fucking immortal as long as you don't burn his ass. Keep him away from an open flame. And you know what? I'll say this, my favorite part of the movie is the dude who plays the Scarecrow, because that dude, fantastic physical actor.
Oh, God, yeah.
Also,
Ray Bolger?
Yeah. Also, seeing it on the big screen, I had never noticed before, watching it on TV and shit, or once on a giant projection in the park, but I was fucking blitzed out of my mind. The one thing I have to give this movie, especially for the time that it was made, the makeup is fucking incredible.
Yeah, how did they do that?
The makeup on the Scarecrow and the makeup on the Tin Man with the rust and everything, just fucking gorgeous.
There were several parts in this movie where I thought, how the hell did they do that?
With the Scarecrow with the folds, and then like the few times you get a really good close-up on him with the right lighting, and you can tell that they put the texture on him and everything.
Yeah, he's got like the burlap texture.
Yeah.
You talk about the Scarecrow?
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing. For 1939, that's goddamn astounding.
I was thinking about that with the lion, and then like you said, like in certain lighting you can see like the texture differences around, like he's got a piece on that goes behind here and then around, and apparently according to the end, made of real lion.
That's fucking dark.
I kind of want to watch it again knowing that.
Right?
Like, now, like, knowing that now, going, oh, that's why it looks so fucking good on the belly and stuff, and they got the tufts of fur in all the right places, because they just cut open a fucking lion and put it on him.
Oh, it's
And then
just,
gave it a permanent.
Yeah.
it was interesting knowing too, like, oh, that snow, they're sprinkling asbestos right on their faces.
Which I didn't know until after we got out of theater and you guys told me that.
Oh yeah, just, I mean, I guess you compare like that to The Conqueror. I guess sprinkling asbestos on your face is a little better. Oh, I love you, 1930s filmmaking. Oh my god, 30s, 40s, 50s, all this shit.
Up close on the screen, you could really see how bloodshot the Tin Man's eyes were.
Yeah.
Because I don't...
I'm betting that was
the...
straight up fucking lead paint on him.
Yeah.
It was, because the original actor was Buddy Ebsen from Beverly Hillbillies.
He's got like paint poisoning or something.
Something like that. Like he had like poisoning or some sort of reaction to whatever the fuck 1939 thing they were putting on his face.
Yeah.
It lent itself to the creepiness, I thought.
It does. This movie's, like I said, oh man, watching this movie as an adult, I was like, kind of like you, like, I'm gonna go into this, it's probably gonna be like really cheesy, like last time I remembered it. Oh man, this movie's got some glorious fucked up moments in it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Oh my god, and like...
But knowing the backstory is what makes them gloriously fucked up for the most part.
I didn't know most of the backstories. I still found it gloriously fucked up.
Oh yeah, like... them sneaking into the... Well, it's fucking Dave sitting there next to me, like, whenever she brings out the hourglass to kill Dorothy, I hear Dave next to me like, ugh, just turn it back over.
Oh my god, you got it! Well, because, like, I'm sitting there wondering what was going to happen when the hourglass ran out. Like,
All
what
she had to do was leave
aspect
the
of the
room.
hourglassiness made it lethal? And yeah, apparently it was just, no, that's just when the witch is going to come back and kill you.
Yeah, oh, yeah, like, as long as she leaves the room, the hourglass does, it's fine, I guess. I don't know, it's the only time in the movie that the Tin Man used his axe, which probably could have come in...
Most of the time, like, he's just swinging that thing around wildly.
Yeah, he's being as more dangerous with that axe than the Scarecrow was with his gun. With his gun! I wonder if they shot some of the guards when they ambushed them and took their clothes.
Yeah, behind the rock, we have no idea what happened.
We have no idea what happened. He could have just shot all of them, and that's why he doesn't have his gun, because it only had like 3 bullets in it.
No, it had 6 bullets. He just shot them all twice.
Once in
Just
the
to
head,
make sure.
Once in the
The
chest,
soul was
once
still
in the
dancing.
head, you know? You always got to always put one in the head.
I think another reason why this probably worked for me this time, too, was that the last Oz-related thing that I saw was in 2014 when Jake and I had to go see Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return, with the Noble Mouse King and Marshall Mallow and, I don't know, a tree that they turn into a boat at one point. I don't know, that was kind of fucked up.
Last Oz thing I saw was the James Franco one with the little porcelain girl and the
Oz the Great and
really
Powerful.
pretty dumbness.
The porcelain girl was in Legends of Oz too. There's a part where she's auditioning suitors because she wants to be married and she doesn't like any of them, so she just screams, which causes all of the potential suitors to just shatter. And so Jake and I are like, she just murdered them, right? Like, it's not just me, she just murdered them. And then they're hauling them off in a wheelbarrow of all of their pieces. I think some of them might have been twitching and moving a little
So
bit.
a mass grave.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel bad because I actually bought the Wizard of Oz book because I intended to watch it, or to read it before we came and watched it, and I just straight up didn't have time.
Just watch Return to Oz again and then go see this. And a lot of the other Oz-related stuff I usually liked more than this, like Return to Oz, The Wiz.
The Wiz.
Fuck yeah, The Wiz.
I've never seen The Wiz.
Ease
Wiz.
on down the road.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Zardoz.
I do like Zardoz.
Fuck yeah, Zardoz.
Oh, the book Wicked is one of my favorites.
They're making a movie of that, aren't they?
Of the book or of the musical?
Probably the musical.
The musical's grown on me, because I used to hate it with the Fire Passion, because they changed so much, but some of the songs have grown on me. They were, at some point, they were talking about making a mini-series of the book, which I was really psyched about, but that just straight up didn't happen.
Didn't they make a miniseries out of Tin Man?
The Zoe Deschanel thing?
I didn't see it. I just
I've
remember.
watched it. It's
Did
not
you?
that bad. It's kind of dumb and hokey, but
Does Zoe Deschanel play Dorothy, I take it?
Yes.
pretty much.
You know, that I can see that. All right. Wow, I really... If it's just the whole cast of New Girl...
That would be fucking amazing. Fucking Winston as the Cowardly Lion. Because it would have to be Winston.
Yeah, Nick would be the Scarecrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
without
Nick
question.
Miller would be the Scarecrow. Would Tin Man be Coach?
Tin Man would have to be Schmidt, I think.
Yeah.
So Coach would be the Wizard?
Or
Toto.
Did Sarah tell you about the text I sent on the recent episode where Winston's a cop now, so they were all goofing off and trying on his cop uniform?
I didn't
Except,
know.
coincidentally, Nick Miller and Coach were nowhere in the scene.
Just gonna leave the room for this bit.
How the fuck did Winston be... I gotta catch up. I don't know how the fuck Winston could become a cop.
Oh, Winston's a police officer now. Well, he's a police officer in training.
The show kind of lost me, but I need to see the Gay Nick episode, and I need to see this episode.
Yeah, you do. Gay Nick, this season's been way better than the last season. If anything, just for the Gay Nick episode alone.
They kind of lost me in the Prince is the guest star episode.
Oh, that was the worst fucking episode. What do you think, Prince? Our new best friend? Well, here's what I... Skip.
Anyway, back to the Wizard of Oz.
Back to Wizard of Oz.
I have to
Keep
say
talking
that,
about New Girl.
well, I wanted to mention that, like, at the very end of the movie, it occurred to me that, well, that lady still wants to kill her dog.
Unless the house did fall on her.
I don't think it did.
Well, wouldn't that have to be a different witch? I mean...
Yeah, because the house fell on the Wicked Witch of the East, so she would have had to have melted in the tornado, I guess.
Well, maybe
True.
the tornado killed her.
Well, you saw her floating past the window, but that was after Dorothy bonked her head, so
Yeah.
I don't think that she actually did.
That part was great, because, like, the dog's hiding under the bed because there's just a cow standing out there. The chickens seem fine.
The lady in the rocking chair?
Yeah.
That was way too big.
That's the problem with that scene?
Yes!
Or what about Bert Lahr and Ray Bolger in the rowboat?
That's fucking amazing.
That was awesome. Woohoo! Before it was showing, like, you know, the little model house and everything, and then the effects out the window, when she's racing home and, like, that twister's in the background.
The twister in the back was
amazing.
incredible.
It looked really good.
Well, like I said, it's one of those, for the time, everything technically about that movie is outstanding and amazing. And it completely deserves its place in film history. It is easily one of the most important and influential films ever made. I don't fucking like it.
No, you
don't have to
there's a
like
lot of movies I'm like that with you on.
Yeah.
I mean, I will be the first to admit that this movie's not my taste necessarily, but I did enjoy rewatching it more than I thought I would. But
I will admit I did too, but mostly because I was sitting there being a smartass.
well, and a lot of my enjoyment came from just sitting next to you being grumpy during Wizard of Oz. But I know what you mean. There's a lot of movies I could say that about from around that time that, you know, I don't need to see Gone with the Wind again.
There a lot of movies from like the 30s to the early 60s. I just could give a shit about, to be honest.
I like a lot of them, but I mean, like, there's some that I'm like, okay, I saw it once, that's fine.
But, like, I think this movie, too, has suffered from just such extreme cultural oversaturation. That, like, at this point, like I said, I've only seen the movie a couple times, but I've seen so much goddamn paraphernalia, I feel like I've seen it more.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe that's part of the problem.
Hell, even when this movie was made, there was already at least one or two different versions of the movie. One was like this weird fucked up silent film version that was odd. I don't know if there was any others besides that, but yeah, there's... Yeah, maybe that's honestly probably why, like, even before we saw it again, I could honestly probably watch the movie from front to end in my head, aside from some things. Like, I forgot about the gun. I can't say if I was picturing it in my head, like, oh, right, yeah, he's got a gun in his hand. That's amazing. And the bug spray, oh my god, the bug spray. Like, I was like, he's got a mallet. Like, oh, that's a thing of bug spray.
Then there was some genuinely funny parts in it, like, unironically funny.
No, there were.
Because, like, there was the gun, like, when he smashed the pot, it just happened so suddenly, and the timing was perfect, and just, like, the little throwaway lines, like, when the Scarecrow was on the ground, and they, like, emptied him out, and Tin Man's like, that's you all over.
Oh, that's you all over.
They really knocked the stuffing out of you.
The part where, like, Dorothy says to the witch, like, fine, you take my slippers. She's like, okay. Like, ow! She's like, oh, I didn't mean to. Can I still have my dog back? No!
Yeah, okay, here you go. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Or when she's walking on the fence and falls into the pigsty.
Yeah, which destroys her day like it would any farm girl.
Oh, no.
I did say that I totally sided with that lady at the beginning of the movie that wanted to kill her dog.
Did you really?
Yeah, well,
Wow.
What?
the dog bit her. On the
She was.
leg.
She
That
was
tiny little fucking dog!
She
I
was.
don't care if a dog bites me.
To be fair, though, that lady probably tried doing something horrible to that dog.
No, the girl's been walking her dog through the garden every single day. Mm-hmm. The lady finally came out to do something about it because the dog was terrorizing her cat. And the dog fucking bit her.
Yeah,
I may not try to murder it, but
when
I'd
she
still be pretty
pointed at
fucking
where the
pissed.
dog bit her, she
Oh,
pointed
I'd
at,
be-
like her thigh, like that little yappy fucking piece of shit dog is gonna jump up and bite her thigh.
Maybe just because I liked the actress so much. but
I
even, like,
loved her. I
the
loved her
nuances of
so much.
Her facial expressions when Auntie M was reading her the riot act, it's sort
Yeah.
of like I thought it humanized the character, but she's still like, okay, I'm still taking this dog.
I'm still gonna kill your fucking dog.
Because guess
Like,
what? He bit me, and I don't have to deal with your shit.
You know, like, I would have been pissed if a dog, like, bit me and whatnot, but I wouldn't be like, I'm gonna destroy that fucking thing. Unless it was the size of a horse and, like,
Yeah.
bit my fingers off.
Would never do that to a dog. A child, maybe.
I liked that it
But
was...
that's-
So
dog.
it's a bit strong to say that I understood where she was coming from. I did empathize with her situation.
But I am with you, though, in that, like, she's the best part of this movie. That, and how it was Lloyd's fault at the end that she missed her balloon.
I heard you say Lloyd because I said Lloyd too. Did you hear me say Lloyd?
He just, yeah, you're like, Lloyd. And Brad's like, oh, Lloyd.
Yeah, Lloyd said, Lloyd, damn, oh, what'd you do, man? And then the balloon takes off. I was like, I don't know how this thing works. Well, bye. Bye, everyone.
Stays hovering at the top of the screen.
Like, no one can bother to jump up and grab those fucking ropes.
I liked it when one of you, I don't know which one of you it was, but when the lion was getting scared by the wizard the first time they see him, and then he just runs out of the room and just
there.
jumps out the window. I just heard, like, dead.
That was me.
'Cause then I started laughing because then I'm picturing, like, an exterior shot, like, on a cliff, like,
Just shards of glass in his fucking...
oh, no.
That was one of the parts that I laughed most delightedly at was when the witch like jumped out of the window to fly away.
Yeah.
And then it cut to an exterior shot of her castle. It's just like this little model on a stick, like they're flying on a string, Flash Gordon style. Just whee, whee, here I come. I'm gonna get you, Dorothy.
They had to wait for her to write out all the letters before they realized she was spelling Surrender Dorothy.
Oh, God.
SURR. What the hell?
She was moving so slow.
Meanwhile, 3 hours later,
Oh, Surrender Dorothy.
surrender, comma Dorothy, or surrender Dorothy.
Oh, wait, she's still going. Dorothy Gale of Kansas. That was unnecessary. All right. Would you guys recommend this movie?
I'd recommend not watching it for 20 years and then watching it again.
Oh, yeah. I'm planning on seeing this again when I'm 53.
It's a date.
What about you, Dave?
See it in the theater once. Other than that, fuck this fucking movie.
More than I expected from you.
It's... I have to admit, as much as I don't like this movie, watching it in the theater was a much different experience than watching it on fucking... catching 20 minutes of it on TV and going, I hate this! And changing the channel.
I like that you would at least give it 20 minutes before you change the
I'm
channel.
giving this 7 more minutes.
I used to do a lot of drugs.
Oh, me too. This movie was amazing then.
No, like, I have to say, watching it in the theater was a different experience, and it's definitely worth watching in the theater sober once.
Yeah.
I don't need to see this movie again for another 20, 30 more years, but seeing it in the theater once, I'm glad I did. If AMC will do it again in a year,
Oh, they
fucking
will.
spend the $10, go see it. But I mean, if there's something better playing that night, go see that.
If Casablanca is playing that night. I don't know what other classic release they're gonna do next, because AMC is, like, not doing their classic re-release thing, which is why we went to the Fathom event. So I'm sure something else will be playing at the Fathom event very soon.
Yeah, well, what anniversaries are coming up? That's...
You said Casablanca, and I was trying to think of the name of that Raul Julia movie that had the Casablanca scene in it.
Oh, that Overdrawn at the Memory Bank?
Yes, I watched
Re-release
that in the
that.
theaters.
Re-release the shot on videotape, Overdrawn at the Memory Bank.
Mom,
Fuck yeah.
my nuts.
Fuck yeah. It's tomorrow.
I'm seeing Wedding Ringer.
We're seeing Black Hat.
And Jake and Ryan are at Paddington. I don't know why I just said what's tomorrow when this is a Patreon video.
So what was last week?
So, but for like anyone who's trying to draw up a timeline of when we film these.
So, hey, everybody who gets to see this on Patreon,
We filmed this
Tomorrow.
last Wednesday. And by this time, I'm in D.C. at MagFest. Later.